On 7's Gold Coast News, a major flood alert for our northern suburbs, plus an entire hinterland community cut off.
Dangerous debris and treacherous conditions close our beaches.
An elderly man hit and killed at a Helensvale service station.
The unique tourism campaign to lure more Japanese tourists to our city.
And council's new weapon to solve crime. For the first time, we show you inside the city's new CCTV headquarters.
Live from the Gold Coast, 7 News with Amanda Abate and Steve Titmus.
Good evening. First to the emerging flood crisis across the southeast. There are warnings of dangerous flash flooding with communities cut off.
The Gold Coast has been spared much of the deluge. Caitlin Steadman is at Wolfdean, just north of the city, where the Albert River is rising rapidly. Caitlin, what are conditions like?
Well, Amanda, the rain and wind is settling in here, but take a look at this river. It's quickly rising and fast moving. There's no chance cars will be passing through here. The river is about to hit 5 metres and could worsen. There's a minor flood warning in place right now, and with this heavy rain expected to stick around, it's predicted river levels will exceed 6 metres. There's also a major flood warning for the Logan River, which is also rising and could impact a number of areas. Roads have been closed due to flooding, but take a look at these pictures. People are still charging through deep waters despite the warning signs. This woman took a chance and it quickly turned dangerous. Stuck in the thick of the floodwaters, she had no choice but to call for help.
Stupidity. I mean, the old law, if it's flooded, forget it. And people still want to go through.
And late this afternoon, swift water rescue crews went to Claragabar Road near Nerang, where a car was also caught in floodwater. The driver had also ignored road closure signs before getting in trouble. Thankfully, they were able to move themselves to safety.
Thank you for that, Caitlin. An entire hinterland community is now being cut off after their only access road was washed away by floodwater. Residents low on supplies say the situation is likely to become more desperate in coming days if the crossing isn't fixed.
Deep in the hinterland, Steve and Rachel Murphy are stuck on the wrong side. They're among more than 60 families from the Illenbar and Flying Fox valleys now cut off from civilisation.
Well, Thursday's normally shopping night, so we're running low. But more so medicines and that, like everybody on this side can't get anything.
And we've got like cancer patients down here that can't go in for treatment.
This is what the temporary crossing on Upper Coomera Road looked like hours before it was swept away by the upstream torrent yesterday.
Pretty much we come across here about 10 past 5 yesterday, and just throughout the day the weather conditions, took a turn for the worse, and then all of a sudden just sort of built up and washed away.
Residents say the timing to build a new bridge here has backfired.
It's sort of like the wrong time of the year to be putting in a bridge. You do it during the dry season, not in the middle of a wet season, and especially not this wet season. It's about as bad as we've had.
There is still limited access to the other side by foot through private properties, but no chance of cars crossing over.
Hopefully they think of something, because they're going to have to do it fairly soon.
As water continues downstream, other hinterland crossings also remain submerged. Most of that runoff will now surge through the Oxenford Weir before the torrent heads down the Coomera River to the Broadwater and out to sea. The view from above showing the sheer volume of water making its way down, while on the other side, 171 millimetres of rain fell at Springbrook overnight, now washing into Hinns Dam, which is at 109% capacity. The spillway almost 2 metres underwater.
I love the sound of the water coming down, and it's lovely and fresh.
It's magnificent, a great gift from the Lord, from nature.
A view likely to last for weeks. Josh Ribrich, 7 Gold Coast News.
Treacherous conditions and dangerous debris meant our beaches were off limits today. The currents and poor visibility kept most away, with a warning it could continue into the weekend.
Knee-deep in froth at Froggies, where suds surged and only the brave played.
It was weird, dark, yes. It doesn't taste nice.
At Snapper, foam formed, mesmerising onlookers.
Over here it looks like everything's heaving. And it looks like something you'd see out of a sci-fi movie.
Photographers captivated by the natural bubble bath.
When you watch it falling over the rocks and things, it's just, it's really very sculptural.
For the eyes only, beaches across the city were closed, conditions treacherous.
A lot of strong rips and currents close to shore. It's just directly on shore, causing a lot of water moving around.
And it's littered with debris, the ocean stained after days of rain.
Milk chocolate, not dark chocolate. Yeah, a little bit of lint ball thrown in there.
Filthy water from the Tweed River pumped straight into the sea at Froggies, close to surfers.
I was pretty rank today, yeah. The stomach wasn't feeling too good.
Further north at Currumbin, only a few swimmers took a dip. High winds gave windsurfers a boost. Iconic tourist spots, Tallabudgera Beach and Burleigh Heads virtually empty.
I've got relatives I'm trying to convince to come at the moment, and I'm not going to send them any photos of this. So.
The severe weather warning continues into tomorrow. It's highly likely the city's beaches will be closed again, off limits on the last Saturday of summer. Ending an unusually wet season with more rain. Kate Ryan, 7 Gold Coast News.
Now to coastal expert Paul Burt. And Bertie, when will we see a reprieve from this weather?
Well, we haven't really had a lot of rain here, Steve-O, compared to what just 50 kilometres to the north of us. Everybody is absolutely a rain bomb pushing through all the way to the western districts. I want to show you on the satellite. You can see it just holding steady, very slow moving. Hard to predict where it's pushing. Only again, there's a barrier, it seems, from Coomera through to Beenleigh. However, that barrier has since broken as it's now starting to move in a south-southwesterly direction. I think we'll start to see some pretty good falls across the Gold Coast tomorrow into the evening, of course, at this stage here. Now, rainfall totals over the next 2 days, still looking in that 200 millimetre mark. So we're going to keep a real close eye on it at this stage. But the ocean, as you can see behind us, has really started to push up as well. 2.5 to 4 metres on the wave recording, boys. And of course, at this stage, and what we're going to see for the weekend, beaches, all beaches across the Gold Coast will be closed. I'll have more weather for you shortly.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Bertie. To other news now, an elderly man has died after he was hit by a four-wheel drive at a Helensvale petrol station this afternoon. It happened just before 1 o'clock. Paramedics treated the 87-year-old on the scene, but he couldn't be saved. The 57-year-old driver was taken to Robina Hospital in shock and distress.
A little piece of the glitter strip has popped up in Japan. The Sheraton in Tokyo has redecorated some of its rooms into a Gold Coast theme. It will inspire travellers to keep our city in mind for their next overseas trip. Holidaymakers will take home a Gold Coast mug and bag tag. The campaign runs for 6 weeks.
Well, coming up, Novavax on offer. Next, we reveal where you can get the new vaccine on the Gold Coast.
The rollout of new recycling vending machines, the locations near you.
And Council's new weapon to keep an eye on crime.
Champion, Olympic champion, gold medalist.
And the dream becomes reality.
And a Gold Coaster. Now, Sally Pearson joins Amanda Abate and Steve Titmus.
He spoke exclusively to 7 News.
Every weekday at 5:30 on 7 Gold Coast News. Then join Sharon and Max for 7 News at 6.
A plane crash that killed 2 people near South Stradbroke Island in 2019 was possibly caused by aerobatic manoeuvres. The Yak 52 aircraft hit the water at high speed, killing Gold Coast pilot Marcel Van Hattem and friend Trista Appleby. An Australian Transport and Safety Bureau report found the pilot had previously been performing low-level stunts without training. Van Hattem had been warned before the flight about the dangers of risk-taking manoeuvres.
More local pharmacies are now offering Novavax. Health officials hoped it would help sway more people to get vaccinated, but so far the take-up on the Gold Coast has been slow.
Today's the day Blake Lynch has been holding out for, getting his Novavax jab after months of waiting.
A few of my friends had bad times with the other vaccines, so I thought I'd wait for this one and
see how it goes, really.
Feeling more comfortable getting a traditional vaccine,
It is a bit of a relief, yeah, finally, after a few months of waiting.
with many still feeling hesitant.
They're more cautious, and they actually, we give them a little bit more of a chat and about the side effects and things.
Around 5% of the population has been waiting for Novavax. The take-up has been slow, with many pharmacies giving out only a few doses a day.
30% of the patients that we're vaccinating daily are coming in for their first Novavax dose.
The rest are receiving boosters of Pfizer or Moderna, as we near 92% fully vaccinated. It's now been a month to the day since the peak of the Omicron wave in Queensland, and the number of COVID cases continues to ease. There are 238 active cases on the coast, the number of school-aged children testing positive dropping.
These numbers will fluctuate daily, but the main thing is we are not seeing a substantial surge.
With just a week to go until the mask mandate is lifted. Courtney Dunn, 7 Gold Coast News.
A new 22-bed cardiac ward has opened at the Gold Coast Private Hospital. It's the only theatre in the city to use non-invasive techniques.
There's a decreased waiting time for patients in the emergency department, increased access to medical staff.
It means patients won't have to travel to Brisbane for the procedure.
Coming up, Tom Tate's message to our city's criminals. We take you behind the scenes of Council's new CCTV control room. It's coming up later in the bulletin.
The Katie Brown has tonight's sport, and Katie, Surf Life Savings being given the green light this weekend.
Sure has, Amanda. The Eager Beaver event to go ahead. More details soon. Also, the exciting new look Titans lineup to be on show tomorrow. Plus, the Suns a storm force against Port Adelaide.
In 7 News, flood rains arrive. From Brisbane to Bundaberg, the Gold Coast to the Downs, the developments as the emergency unfolds. Plus, war in Ukraine. Dramatic pictures as Russia takes hold. Live to our experienced reporters. 2 major stories, special coverage. It's why Queenslanders turn to 7 News at 6.
The Titans will roll out their first choice lineup in tomorrow night's trial against the Warriors in Redcliffe. That includes their exciting but inexperienced new look spine.
Jim Dimmick was in charge of today's training session, but head coach Justin Holbrook still pulling the strings despite being in COVID isolation.
He's been puppeteering while he's at home, and we just get the job done for him.
Most of the Titans' big guns have been named to face the Warriors, but for those vying for places, a word of warning from the coaching staff.
You're trying for a spot in the side. You know, you forget about the team and try to focus on yourself, and it's not about that. It's about, working together in the system.
In other words, the 1%ers.
And that's what we look at, what they're doing off the ball, and what they're doing to help their mate out, and that's the big thing we're focusing on.
There will also be a focus on how the Titans' new look spine of Sexton, Brimson and Campbell performs.
They're young kids, full of zest, so hopefully they take that onto the field.
And specifically for Chief Playmaker Sexton, the conviction to call the shots.
He's going to have some big characters out there like Tino and Wall and Dave, who want the ball all the time. He's just going to be strong enough to say no sometimes and just get the kick in.
Sean Lawson, 7 Gold Coast News.
The Suns have impressed in their trial against Port Adelaide at Metricon this afternoon. New recruit Chol and academy youngster Alex Davies leading the way.
The Suns academy prospect from outside the 50. Does it have the legs? It's going, it's a goal!
The Gold Coast running out 21-point winners. Sunday's Eager Beaver charity surf contest at Palm Beach has been called on. Organisers were checking out the rough conditions this morning, but nothing's going to stop the honour of Palmy legend Nathan Beaver Jager, who took his own life in 2013.
We'll be going ahead, rain, hail or shine. Like the mine gets stormy at some stages, so we're going to be a bright light on Sunday, regardless of what the weather looks like.
Yeah, good on them. More than 100 entries have registered for the event, with all funds going to the Living charity. And unfortunately, Steve, the bad weather forced the opening day of the Queensland Youth Life-Saving Titles to be called off. Such a bummer.
Yeah, what a shame after all that training. New reverse vending machines are being rolled out across the city. 3 have been set up at Westfield, Helensvale, Stocklands, Burleigh and the Pines at Eleanora, allowing locals to recycle. It's part of the state government's Containers for Change initiative, giving residents money back.
They can take up to 100 containers a minute, so there's a challenge for lots of young Gold Coasters out there to see if you can get those containers in quickly.
The kiosk will be open 14 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Coming up after the break, we take you behind the scenes of Council's CCTV network.
And rough and wild conditions here at the Seaway. Rain on the way. Details next.
Gold Coast is making the switch to 7 News, and we want you to be a part of it. If there's a local issue that needs attention or something's happening in your suburb, in your street, we want to know about it. Give us a call, send us a message or drop us an email.
Tonight, for the first time, we can take you inside our city's new CCTV headquarters in Broadbeach. New software has now been installed to deliver even clearer footage and bring culprits before the courts.
Zooming in on trouble. This is Council's new CCTV headquarters, spacious and high-tech, allowing more staff to keep an eye on those committing crimes.
The criminals can don't forget to smile because we're going to get you.
Council has spent $75,000 on new software. So far, it's been installed on 60 cameras, giving a clearer picture in colour.
It's going to help to deter crime in our city, and it'll help the police with prosecution.
In 2012, there were 110 cameras across our city. That's now grown to 700. Residents can also register their own cameras to be part of the network.
The cameras will absolutely highlight the number plates, especially the hoons, or any other criminal activities.
The workers have close contact with police who can access the vision on patrol and be one step ahead.
I would say that we're leading other local government areas.
Creating a safer city, one camera at a time. Amelia Adam, 7 Gold Coast News.
Max Futcher joins us now with the top stories just ahead in the news at 6.
Steve, coming up, we're live from the disaster zone, from the coast to the Darling Downs, Brisbane to Caboolture. The danger, the damage, every development. Rivers are rising, homes going under, with particular concerns starting to focus on the Lockyer Valley, Grantham and the impact it will have on Brisbane, Logan, Bremer and Albert Rivers. Certified meteorologist Tony Auden predicted this system days ago. Tonight, his crucial forecast for the next 24 hours. Also tonight, the war in Ukraine. Dramatic pictures as Russian forces take control. We're live to our experienced reporters inside Ukraine and on the border where a humanitarian crisis is developing. 2 major stories, special coverage, plus cricket legend Rod Marsh's fight for life in Bundaberg. And Powerball winners celebrate a $120 million bonanza. 7 News at 6.
Thank you, Max. Birdie's here now with the latest weather, and we're in for a very wet weekend, Birdie.
Yeah, it looks as though it's going to be that way there, Amanda. It really has missed us today. Not much recorded here at the Seaway at all. But have a look behind me. You can see it absolutely looking atrocious as the waves started to pretty much breach across the front end of the bar. And it's going to remain very unsettled for the next couple of days. Q1 weather cam shows how the day started. Rain this morning, but it then backed up after 9 o'clock. Not a drop here at the Seaway. Only 1 millimetre down there at Coolangatta. A lot more up in the hinterland though. Ashmore at the moment, 25 degrees, winds east-southeast at 48 k's. Today, have a look at the temps there. 25, 26 degrees, down to 24 overnight in Nerang. But really focus on the northern end, just north of Yatala. That's the system. That's how close it is to the Gold Coast. We have been spared, so lucky today. Incredible. However, that barrier looks as though it has been broken as that system now starts to shift a little bit to the south, to the satellite. You can see it there, that inland trough, upper level low, made its way to the coast. It's combined with that moist onshore airflow. It's starting to deepen. It's pushing a lot of water to the northwest of the Gold Coast and northern parts of Brisbane. As we see into tomorrow, we're going to see that system slowly shift to the south. Good chance of seeing some falls throughout the day into the evening, into early Sunday. Really hard to predict, but keep a close on it. Heavy falls likely. 21 to 25 across most of the Gold Coast tomorrow. Similar for Surfers Paradise. Keep that brolly and raincoat handy. Strong wind warning for boaties, 30 knots. Seas rough. On the beaches, not the best for surfers. I will have a report for you shortly on that, so check that out. And as we look ahead now, early Sunday will be wet, but it will break as the day gets on and then quickly shift offshore. Still showers remaining through to Friday. Let's check the waterways for tomorrow, everybody. On the surfing scene, if you're keen, this was Burleigh this morning. I tell you what, looking brown and ominous. Dirty, fluffy, foamy, not the best. Southern end of the Gold Coast tomorrow will be the better bet if you are keen to have a crack. Of course, got that early morning high tide, so there'll be some sweep and rip out there as the tide drops away towards a 9 to 10 a.m. low. Now, if you are having a bit of a look-see, clearly that swell's going to come in from the east-southeast at around 7-second intervals. So it's going to be short and sharp. It's still growing in size due to the wind pushing up the coast at the moment and that low. If you are venturing out for a fish, try for mud crabs. Forget about everything else at the moment. Good luck. And team, that system is slowly making its way. It's quite incredible, that barrier that held it off. But again, as I said, it's slowly starting to make its way down towards the coast. A wet night ahead. Take it easy.
All right, thank you, Birdie. We'll be back with more Gold Coast news on Monday, not tomorrow.
When Olympic champion Sally Pearson joins our team presenting sport. From all of us, stay safe. Bye for now.